This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
It's a brisk, cloudy day here on Saturday at noon in First Bank and Trust Arena in Brookings, South Dakota. I'm Ben Anderson with Collegiate Sports. So glad to be here with you. It's Jackrabbit Volleyball back at it once again today, taking on Boise State. Yesterday at 6 p.m., the Jackrabbits faced Boise State for the first time this season, and they swept them 3-0. Boise State did show some fight, though, in that third set. Ended up being, I believe, 25-22, and that one, the other two sets, end out 25-18. The Jackrabbits sweep Boise State yesterday. We're back at it again today, a doubleheader rematch here in First Bank and Trust. The Jackrabbits taking on the Broncos once again. Can they repeat the sweep? We will find out. We're about to get the starting lineup for the Jackrabbits. Right now, we just got the starting lineup for Boise State. It will be number 3, Lily Eder. Number 6, Ariana Bilby. Number 11, the libero Bree Mitchell. Number 13, Bella McGreer. Number 15, Sydney Dreves. Number 21, Kaylin Yager. And number 25, Eliza Sharp. Those are the starting group for Boise State. And now we're going to get the starting lineup for South Dakota State. First up for the Jacks will be the setter, number 5, Riley Martin. Riley Martin is a junior out of Eaton, Colorado. Up next for the Jacks will be number 6, Maggie Meister. She is 5'8", freshman out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, attended Harrisburg High School. Third down the chute for SDSU will be number 8, Madison Burr, the middle blocker, 6'1", sophomore out of Goodhue, Minnesota. Next is the Summit League Player of the Year in 2024, number 10, Sylvie Scotts, outside hitter, 5'11", junior out of Hartford, Wisconsin. Now the newest addition to the top 10 career blocks here at SDSU. It's number 11, Sydney Shetnin, the middle blocker, 6'5", redshirt senior out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Next is number 13, Annalie Ventling-Brown, right side middle blocker, 6'1", fifth-year senior out of Lincoln, Nebraska. The libero for the Jackrabbits tonight is number 17, Jocelyn Richardson. She is 5'9", junior out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She attended Washington High School. The Jackrabbits are head coached by Dan Georgalis. Highlight from yesterday's match against Boise State, the Jackrabbits very successful on the block. Annalie Ventling-Brown, Sydney Shetnin, as well as Madison Burr, and even Riley Martin getting in on the blocks, each reaching multiple blocks throughout that game. I believe Shetnin and Ventling-Brown tied for 6 blocks yesterday. Madison Burr and Riley Martin having 4 and 5. Riley Martin, not usually a player that we see having blocks throughout these matches, but yesterday getting 4 blocks up front against Boise State. Another player of note is number 3, Caitlin Van Kirk. She transferred from Boise State in the offseason, and this is her first regular season with the Jackrabbits, facing off against her home team. in these 2 matches. Van Kirk didn't see the court very much yesterday. We'll see if she gets rotated in a little bit more today. Service will be with the Jackrabbits to start. It will be Maggie Meister back behind the line for the yellow and blue to serve it. We're ready to get kicked off here in First Bank and Trust. Meister's service to start it off for the Jackrabbits is to the back row left side. Boise State scrambling. They get a spike return. Dug up by Jocelyn Richardson. Martin there. Shetland spike over. And the Jackrabbits on the board first. Shetland with the kill. Found empty space in the back and couldn't be cleanly dug up by Boise State there. Meister is going to be serving once again as the Jackrabbits take a 1-0 lead here in set number 1. Meister's service to the back row middle. Here is Boise State's return on the far side. That's blocked up front by Shetland. Back-to-back kills for Sydney Shetland. She gets the block up front, and block starting early for Shetland here in the first set of the rematch. Meister still serving for the Jacks. Back row middle here for Boise State. Eder sets it up for Jagger, and she sends it out the left sideline. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's going to be 3-0 attacking error there by Jagger. Jagger, a player to watch out for on Boise State. She's got a quick spike, as well as Eliza Sharp had a big day. Led the team in kills for Boise State yesterday. They go to Jagger again. There's another attacking error by Jagger that goes outside the back line. Untouched by the Jackrabbits. Good eyes there by Jocelyn Richardson. It's 4-0. The Jackrabbits lead it by 4 in set number 1. Meister on a roll here. She's still serving. This one to the back left corner of Boise State. Here's a tip over. Martin dives for it. It's still alive. Ventling Brown gets it over. Free ball here for Boise State. They go for the setup of the spike. It's Jagger, and Jocelyn Richardson can't keep it in bounds off her touch. Point for the Broncos there on the board here in the first set. It's 4-1. Sydney Dreves back to serve it for Boise State. Dreves picked up by Meister, the back row. Here's Scott to the left side, tipping over. Boise State's ready for it. They're going to send back a spike. It's touched by the blockers, and it goes out of bounds. Jackrabbits' last touch. Point for the Broncos. It's now 4-2. The Jackrabbits up by 2 in set number 1. Dreves still serves for Boise State. Dreves on the serve, picked up by Meister. Here is Riley Martin tipping to Sydney Shetland. It's over on the Broncos side. Blocked up front by Sconce on the left side. Denied up front of the net. Sconce with the block there. It's 5-2. The Jacks by 3 as the Jackrabbits already have 2 blocks on the board early in the first set. Richardson on the serve. Here comes a heater of a spike, and Riley Martin gets in front of it, but she can't cleanly dig that one up. Point for the Broncos there. That spike set over by Eliza Sharp. Kill for her. Bree Mitchell going to be serving the libero for Boise State. Meister digs it up, but sends it right over. Free ball here for Boise State. Bentling Brown on the dig. Martin to Sconce on the left side. She gets it through the block. Whistle stops play. Net violation there by Boise State. Point for the Jacks. Rachel Weber enters the match to serve it for the Jacks. It's 6-3. The Jacks by 3. Here is the service by Weber, and the return. Jocelyn Richardson cannot get ahead of it. And it's going to be a kill here for Layla Smith, the junior out of Humboldt, Texas, for Boise State. Service coming from Elle Cotton for Boise State. She is from Elk River, Minnesota. Cotton served, picked up by Meister. Here's Martin, and Sconce can't get it through the block. It remains on the Jackrabbit side. Martin over to Burr this time on the right side. Burr gets it to the back row. Boise State's there on the return. It's a tip over. Here is Weber. Meister bumps it up for Sconce on the left side. Sconce gets it through the block, and now Boise State cannot recover as it ends up close to the net on their side, and Sconce with the kill there. 7-4 the score. The Jackrabbits are up by 3. Sylvie Sconce will be back to serve it for the Jacks. Sconce gets it to the libero Mitchell. Here comes the return on the far side from Boise State. Sconce diving, but can't get it before it touches the floor. Point for Boise State. 7-5, the Jackrabbits by 2 here in set number 1. Ariana Bilby back to serve it. Picked up by Sconce. Here's Martin on the net, and Hannah Klein enters the game for the first time. She spikes it, and it hits the scoreboard. Point for the Jackrabbits. Boise State bumps it right up to the scoreboard. Touches. Affects play, and point awarded to the Jackrabbits. Hannah Klein in the game for the first time today. Klein's a freshman out of Albany, Minnesota. And she's had a stellar start of the season. Had a great day yesterday as well. Point for the Broncos. They say Shetland was into the net. Shetland doesn't think so, but they're going to give the point to the Broncos. Jacks up by 2. It's 8-6. Jacks ahead by 2. Service by McGurr. And here's Klein's spike. That is out of bounds on the left sideline. Very close there by Klein. It's now 8-7 in this narrow first set. The Jackrabbits ahead by 1. Bella McGurr is back serving again. Here is Sconce, Martin, and Klein on the left side. Gets it through the block. Was it touched at the net? It went out of bounds. No, untouched by the blockers. Point for the Broncos, and it's 8-all now in set number 1. We are tied up. Jackrabbits previously led this set 4-0. Service by Boise State. Here is Sconce. Martin to the left side, Shetland. Shetland gets it down in open space. And Shetland with the kill gives the Jackrabbits the lead back. It's 9-8. Back to serve it now for the Jackrabbits. It's number 5, Riley Martin. Martin on the service. Back right corner of Boise State. Here comes a return on the left side of the net. That's a quick spike. And a kill there for the Broncos. That spike sent over by Ridley O'Connor, a junior out of Laredo Ranch, California. Lily Eater out of Spokane, Washington, back to serve for Boise State. We're tied up at 9. And that one goes out of bounds barely on that back near side corner. Point for the Jackrabbits. Good eyes there by Sylvie Sconce. It's 10-9. The Jackrabbits ahead by 1. Maggie Meister is going to be back to serve it for the Jacks. She's the freshman out of Sioux Falls. This one to the back row middle in Boise State. Here comes the return. That's blocked by Shetland, but it's going to go off to the left out of bounds off Shetland's touch. We're tied up at 10 apiece now in set number 1. Service for the Broncos is going to be Sydney Dreves. Dreves, service. There's to Meister. Martin back sets to Ventling Brown. The tip over in open space above the blockers' heads. Ventling Brown, great tip there. Kill for Ventling Brown. It's 11-10. The Jackrabbits up by 1. Back to serve is the libero for the Jackrabbits tonight, number 17, Jocelyn Richardson. Richardson on the serve. Picked up by libero Mitchell. Here is the spike across, and that one was a quick one outside the back line. Luckily for the Jackrabbits, That one came in quick, sent by Eliza Sharp. Sharp is a redshirt freshman middle blocker for Boise State. She's 6'3". Richardson, service again. There's Mitchell. Eder over at a free ball here for Meister. Martin, and the direct set on 2 from Martin. Boise State has to scramble for it. Another free ball here for SDSU. Here's Sconce on a heater, and Sylvie Sconce sends the heat from middle net, and a kill for number 10. It's 13-10 now. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3. Richardson behind the line to serve it. This is going to be a service ace for Jocelyn Richardson as Mitchell can't dig it up in the back left corner of Boise State. And the ace from Richardson forces the timeout from Boise State. It's 14-10. The Jackrabbits lead it by 4. It's set number 1. We'll be back in 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
Welcome back into First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson with Collegiate Sports. So glad to have you along with me for this one as the Jackrabbits lead over Boise State 14-10. Yesterday, the Jackrabbits swept Boise State right here in First Bank and Trust, looking to do it again. As Jocelyn Richardson just got an ace, the Jacks lead it by 4 in set number 1, and Richardson is back to serve. Picked up by back row middle. And Boise State gets it through the block of Burr. It ends up in the back row of the Jackrabbits. Sconce gets blocked. Martin keeps it alive. Burr stops it at the net. An excellent volley from the Jackrabbits. Unbelievable recovery. Madison Burr on the block party solo up front for the Jacks. Gets the stop of what was looking like a Boise State point. Here is Richardson still serving. Eder sets up Sharp, and Sharp gets it through the block and into the court of the Jackrabbits side. Kill for Eliza Sharp. It's 15-11. The Jackrabbits are up by 4. It's set number 1. Bree Mitchell will serve it for Boise State. This is to Meister. Here Martin and Ventling Brown on the right side. It goes over to the Boise State side through the block. Here's a tip. Sconce is there. Martin back to Ventling Brown. She spikes again. Libero ready on Boise State's side. Here comes the spike back across. Ventling Brown bumps it up. Martin over to Sconce on the left side. Sconce gets blocked, and Meister's in the right area, but she's not ready for it as it comes quickly back to her. Bronco kill there off the block on Sconce. 15-12. The Jackrabbits head by 3 in set number 1. Bree Mitchell, the senior libero for Boise State on the service, picked up by Meister. Here is Ventling Brown. That spike too far. Out the back line, sent by Ventling Brown, and point for the Broncos on the attack area there. It's 15-13. The Jackrabbits up by 2 in set number 1. Service by Mitchell again. Here to Sconce. Martin's there for the set. And Burr might have touched the net there, and they're going to get a net violation. Point for the Jackrabbits. That's going to be a touch on Boise State. I saw the net move on Burr's hit. The attempted block gets into the net there. Net violation makes it 16-13. The Jackrabbits head by 3. Rachel Weber on the service. This one picked up by Mitchell. Eder sets it up for the tip across. And here comes Sconce on the return. She gets blocked. Sconce recovers. Meister has to bump it up over to Martin. Martin on the spike across. Picked up on the back row. Here's a tip over. Diving is Meister. It's still alive. They say no, it touched the floor. Point for Boise State. It's 16-14. The Jackrabbits up by 2. Set number 1. L. Cotton back to serve it for Boise State. Here comes the service that's picked up by Richardson. Here Martin and Burr. And Burr sends the hammer from the right side of the net, getting the kill there. Madison Burr. Makes it 17-14. The Jackrabbits up by 3 now in set number 1. Sylvie Sconce to serve it. This one out the back line. Sconce put too much grease on that one. It's point for Boise State. 17-15. The Jackrabbits up by 2. Back to serve for Boise State. It's Ariana Bilby. Bilby's serve picked up by Sconce. Bumping to Martin. Here is Klein on the left side. Klein doesn't get it through the block. Martin recovers. A free ball here for Boise State. Good recovery there by Martin leads to a Jackrabbit point as their return goes out of bounds. Point for the Jacks on the attack here by the Broncos. It's 18-15. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3. Set number 1. Number 14 enters the game for the Jacks. That is Aaliyah Schlingen. She will serve it. Boise State on the return. That is a quick spike in front of Sconce, who couldn't make the return. Bridley O'Connor sends a heater from the near side of Boise State. Makes it 18-16. The Jackrabbits ahead by 2. It's set number 1. Bridley O'Connor currently leads Boise State in kills at 3 kills on 3 total attempts. She's currently hitting 1,000. Here's Weber. Martin on the setup for Klein. Klein gets it through the block, and there is the Hannah Klein we like to see from the left side, getting it through the block to the back row, and a kill for Hannah Klein. It's now 19-16. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3 in set number 1. Service coming from Riley Martin and the Jackrabbits. Martin's serve. Clears the top of the net and over to the Boise State side. Here comes the spike. Richardson's there for the dig. It's Martin again. Klein gets the spike across, and we get a net violation. Point for the Jackrabbits off the touch from the Broncos. It's 20-16. The Jackrabbits ahead by 4 here in set number 1. Boise State uses their second timeout. We'll take it with them. Be right back here in about 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back in here to First Bank and Trust Arena, the Jackrabbit rematch against Boise State. The Jacks currently lead set number 1, 20-16. Riley Martin is on the service after the second time out of the set for Boise State. Here is Martin's serve. Martin to the back left corner, Boise State. Here's the bump up. The spike across gets through the block. Here's Sconce. Martin on the set over on 2. Boise State somehow digs that one up. Here's a spike blocked by Ventling Brown. It's still alive on the Boise State side. They bring it back from out of bounds. Here's Sconce. Martin and Shetnin sending a spike. That's inbounds. Shetnin gets it in open space in the back row, close to that back line, but a kill there for Shetnin nonetheless. It's 21-16. The Jackrabbits ahead by 5. Number 5, Riley Martin still serves. Martin to Mitchell. Here is Boise State's return. Spike is stopped by Ventling Brown. Point for the Jackrabbits as the spike from Sydney Dreves hits the net. 22-16 the score. Riley Martin still serving. Martin gets it back left corner. Here is the left side return from Boise State. They get an empty space. The Jackrabbit back row. Point for the Broncos there. It's 22-17. The Jacks ahead by 5. Lily Eder into the game to serve it here for Boise State. Here is the spike. Picked up Richardson, knuckles it off into the chair of Brent Bowen, the Summit League broadcaster. And that's a service ace there for Eder. It's 22-18 as the Jackrabbits are ahead by 4. And Eder's still serving. Here picked up by Sconce to Martin. Here Klein on the left side gets it through the blockers. That's into the back row. Here a block up front by Shetton. It stays on the Boise State side and point for the Jackrabbits there. It's 23-18. The Jackrabbits are ahead by 5. Maggie Meister enters the game for the Jacks to serve it. Meister gets it to the back left corner of Boise State. Here comes the spike return, and that's an empty space for the Jackrabbit side. Meister in the area, but couldn't quite get ahead of it. It's 23-19. The Jackrabbits are ahead by 4. Sydney Dreves back behind the line to serve it now for Boise State. And there's going to be an ace from Dreves as Meister knuckles it off. Martin can't recover. (23-20). The Jacks ahead by 3 in set number 1. Dreves serves still for Boise State. This one to Martin and Sconce. Sconce gets it down. There's a kill for Sylvie Sconce, and it makes it a Jackrabbits set point after the kill from Sylvie. It's 24-20. The Jackrabbits ahead by 4. It is set point, set number 1 for SDSU, and Jocelyn Richardson back line the line to serve. Richardson, the back row. Here comes the return. It's a tip over. It's Martin, Meister, and Sconce on the left side. Spiking, gets it through the block, gets into the back row. Boise State's there. Here comes the return. It's a spike. There's Meister on an excellent dig. Pops it up for Martin. Here to Burr. Burr gets blocked, and that one stays on the Jackrabbit side. Point for the Broncos. 24-21. The Jackrabbits are ahead by 3 in set number 1. It's still Jackrabbit set point. Bree Mitchell will serve it for Boise State. Here to Meister. Martin setting up for Burr, and Burr ends out the set with a kill there, finding empty space on her spike in the back row of Boise State. The kill from Burr gives the Jackrabbits set number 1, 25-24. The Jackrabbits take it by 4. We'll take about a 2-minute break here on Collegiate Sports, and we'll be right back for the second set here in First Bank and Trust. Stick around.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings Park West. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, Park West is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. Park West is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back into First Bank and Trust Arena. It is time for set number 2 here in Brookings. The Jackrabbits just took set number 1, 25-21 over the Broncos in what was a relatively hard-fought set for SDSU. Keeping in mind the Jackrabbits did sweep Boise State in yesterday's match. Looking to do the same here again today. We switched side of the court. So the Jackrabbits now on the far side of the court as I see it, and Boise State on the near side. Boise State will start on the service here for this one. And the starting group out there for SDSU is Riley Martin, Annalie Bentling-Brown, Sydney Shetnin, Sylvie Sconce, Jocelyn Richardson, and Maggie Meister. Back to serve for Boise State is Lily Eder. Eder's serve. Picked up here by Meister. Here is Martin back setting for Bentling-Brown, sending a heater from the near side. Kill for Bentling-Brown. A heater to start off the second set. The Jackrabbits take the lead. It's 1-0. Jocelyn Richardson back to serve it. Richardson picked up by the back row here for Boise State. Here comes the return near the back line. They rule it inbounds. Point for the Broncos. It's 1-all. Sydney Dreves back to serve it for Boise State. Dreves has 2 kills tonight and a service ace. Here is Meister. Martin and Burr sends a heater. That's inbounds. Burr shuts it down on the near side of the net. Gotta love the speed of the spike off Burr, and then right away, Annalie Bentling-Brown. 2 back-to-back amazing kills by the Jackrabbits. It's 2-1. The Jacks up by 1. Rachel Weber in to serve it. Eder setting up the spike from Kendall Hastings, and a kill there for Hastings. Point Boise State. We're tied up at 2-all in set number 2. Bree Mitchell here to serve for Boise State. Here to Meister, Martin, and Scott. Scott gets blocked. It remains on the Jackrabbit side. Richardson back to Scott. Scott gets it through this time, and that's inside the right sideline. Point for the Jackrabbits, kill for Sylvie Scott. That will be Scott's 6th kill of the match. Sylvie currently hitting .385, and Scott's to serve. Picked up by Mitchell. Here is Eaters setting up the spike from Bill B. That's close to that right sideline. They say it's out. Point for the Jacks. It's 4-2. The Jackrabbits up by 2. It's set number 2, and Scots will serve again. Scott serving, picked up by Mitchell. Here is Burr. Martin on the free ball. Here's Klein getting it through the front block, and Hannah Klein on that far side gets the kill. Time and time again, Klein very successful on the outside of the net, getting it through the block of Boise State. Happened yesterday, happening again today. Sconce on the service. It's back over. Here's Sconce, Martin, and Sconce again on the spike. Here's Boise State. Mitchell bumping it up here for Jagger, and it's picked up by back row and Richardson. Here's Klein's tip over. Here is Bilby tip over. It is Weber, Martin, and Klein again. Klein gets stopped this time. It's Kaylin Jagger. Klein went for the tip over. Jagger's right in a good location there at the net to make a stop. Point for the Broncos. It's 5-3. The Jackrabbits up by 2. It's set number 2. 22, L. Cotton serves for Boise State. Here is Weber, Martin, and Burr on the near side, and that's a kill for Madison Burr. Aaliyah Schlimgen into the game to serve it now for the Jackrabbits. It's 6-3 after the hammer from Madison Burr on the near side. Schlimgen over. That's picked up by Bilby. It's up at the net. Tipped back over by the Jackrabbits. Now here is Shetton up at the net. And it's close to the net on the Boise State side. They send a spike into the net. That's an attacking error there by Bridley O'Connor. Point for the Jackrabbits as there was a little confusion up at the net for the Broncos. Couldn't quite make anything happen there. It's 7-3. The Jackrabbits up by 4. Aaliyah Schlimgen serving again. Mitchell there. Here's Cotton. A spike over by Layla Smith. Gets through. Point for the Broncos. Service from Ariana Bilby here. The 5th-year senior for Boise State. Bilby sends that one too far. Good eyes there by Rachel Weber. Service error gives the point to the Jackrabbits. It's 8-4. The Jacks up by 4. Back behind the line to serve it is Riley Martin. Martin on the serve here, picked up by Dreves. Here comes the spike back across. There's Sconce for the dig. Here is Klein. She gets blocked. It's still alive. Shetton gets it. And a free ball here for Boise State. Here comes the spike back. There's Martin for the dig. Richardson, tip over by Klein. It's on the Boise State side now on the near side. They send a spike. It's out the right sideline. And a point for the Jackrabbits. Excellent recovery there by Shetton. Good eyes, good action. Shetton keeps the volley alive, and it results in a Jackrabbit point. It's 9-4. The Jacks by 5. Number 5, Riley Martin, still serves. Here to Mitchell. Cotton sets up the spike from Dreves, and Sconce catches the volleyball square in the forearms, and it bounces off to the left, out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. It's 9-5. Jackrabbits ahead by 4. Back to serve it for the Broncos will be Bella McGreer. Here is Shetton, Martin, and Klein. Klein sends a spike. That's near that right sideline, and point awarded for the Jackrabbits. They rule it inbounds. It's 10-5. The Jacks up by 5. Maggie Meister into the match now for Hannah Klein. She'll be back to serve it for the Jacks. Meister to Mitchell. Here is the spike getting blocked by Scots. It remains at the Boise State side. Mitchell over. That's a free ball for SDSU. Here comes Vetling Brown, and a kill from Vetling Brown on that near sideline. That one very close to that left sideline, but it is touched by Boise State before going out. Kill for Vetling Brown. It's 11-5. The Jackrabbits ahead now by 6. Timeout called by Boise State, their first of 2. We'll take it with them. Be right back here in about 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back in here to First Bank and Trust Arena. After the timeout from Boise State, it's 11-5. The Jackrabbits are ahead by 6. Leading in kills for SDSU, it's Sylvie Scott. She's got 6 of them. Hannah Klein and Madison Burr tied up with 5 kills apiece. Best hitting percentage for SDSU is Madison Burr. She's got 5 kills on 7 attempts, hitting .571. Here's the service by Maggie Meister. Picked up by the back row for Boise State. Here comes the tip over, and that's going to be a kill from Kendall Hastings. The Broncos get that point. It's 11-6. The Jackrabbits are up by 5. Lily Eater behind the line to serve it for Boise State. Here's Richardson. Martin and Shetland on the tip over. Diving for the save is Jagger. Here's a free ball for SDSU as it's set over. Meister and Scott sends it to Spike. This is dug up by Boise State. Here comes a return by Jagger. It's blocked by Vetling Brown. And point for the Jackrabbits. 12-6. The Jackrabbits up by 6 now. Jocelyn Richardson back behind the line to serve it. It's her serve that's picked up in the back row of Boise State. Here's Eater, and Jagger gets it through the block. And it's on the Jackrabbit side. Martin and Scotts. Scotts sends it out of bounds. Point for the Broncos, it's 12-7. The Jackrabbits up by 5 in set number 2. Back to serve for the Broncos is number 15, Sydney Dreves. Dreves on the serve. That clears center net. That's to Meister. And Madison Burr with the hammer somehow dug up. And Martin's there for the recovery on the Jackrabbit side. Here's another here. That's Vetling Brown. That one gets through. And no clean return from Boise State. And it's that volleyball ricochets off their hit. It spills a drink in the crowd in the front row. And they're going to have to wipe that one up. But a kill there for Vetling Brown. It's 13-7. The Jackrabbits up by 6. Yeah, there's still some liquid out here on the sideline. They're getting cleaned up as that ball spilled a drink over here. 13-7 the score. The Jacks up by 6. They're able to wipe that up. Rachel Weber's in to serve it for SDSU. Weber to Dreves. Here is Eater setting up Bilby on the spike over. Meister able to make a recovery. Free ball. Martin excellent over. And a block up front by Martin ends up on the Jackrabbit side anyways. And the Broncos get the point there. But initially excellent recovery there by Martin to get that over, and Meister as well in on that one, keeping that volley alive. To no avail, unfortunately, as the Broncos get that point. And Mitchell's going to be serving it now for Boise State. This one into the net, and that is a violation. A net violation. Again, I say it wrong. It's going to be a service error there by Mitchell, and it's going to be 14-8. The Jackrabbits ahead by 6. Sylvie Scott's back to serve it. Here picked up by Dreves. Spike over by Layla Smith, and a kill there for Smith as she gets it into empty space. 14-9 in the second set. The Jackrabbits up by 5. And number 22, El Cotton, here to serve it for Boise State. Cotton serve picked up by Weber. Here's Martin. And Caitlin Van Kirk sends the hammer from the far side. The Boise State transfer gets one on her own team. Van Kirk sends a heater. She transferred from Boise State in the offseason. Her first playing time against her old team here tonight. She gets a kill as soon as she subs in. Here, kept alive by Sconce as she scrambles out of bounds. Van Kirk tips it over. It's on the Boise State side again. Excellent hustle there by Sconce. Here is Caitlin Van Kirk and Martin, and Sconce sets over. Free ball here for Boise State. Martin over to Caitlin Van Kirk again. She gets it through the block. Boise State there. And a spike back across. Sconce has to scramble again. Martin keeps it alive. Weber bumps it over, and it's still alive. Boise State has it. Blocked up front. Shetnin. And the kill for Sydney Shetnin. An excellent volley by the Jackrabbits. And Sconce has to scramble back behind the line 2 times to keep that one alive. And it works out for them. The Jackrabbits with the point at 16-9. The Jacks up by 7. Aaliyah Schlimgen will serve it. This one close to that back line, and it's going to be just out. Service error there by Schlimgen, and point for the Broncos. It's 16-10. The Jacks by 6. Ariana Bilby in to serve it for Boise State. Bilby to Weber. Here's Martin bumping it up for Van Kirk, and she sends a hammer. And here comes the tip back over for Boise State. It's back on the Boise State side now as it's quickly returned. Here comes Dreves. Back to Martin. Here's Van Kirk again. She gets blocked, and that block goes close to the line but inbounds. Point for the Broncos. It's 16-11. And the Jacks up by 5 now in set number 2. Bilby back to serve it again. Here to Weber. Martin setting up Sconce. Sconce tips over. Boise State on the return on the near side. This one dug up by Richardson, kept alive. Weaver brings it back into bounds. And here is Sconce on the over. Here's a tip. Martin's there. And here comes another one. Another good dig from Sylvie Sconce in the back row. Van Kirk sends it back over to the Boise State side. Here comes a spike. There's Richardson on the dig. Martin on the direct set on 2. Here's a spike. That's into empty space as Richardson caught out of position there. Point for Boise State after that tough volley. It's 16-12. The Jackrabbits are up by 4. Dan Georgalis uses a timeout after that tough stretch of points. Much needed break here for the Jackrabbits. We'll take it with them. Be back in about 30 seconds here on Collegiate Sports.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
Welcome back in here to Brookings, South Dakota, First Bank in Trust Arena. The Jackrabbits currently lead over the Broncos 16-12 in the second set. The Jacks won the first set 25-21. A tough stretch of points for both teams as some long extended volleys take place. Each point eventually ending up in the hands of Boise State. Head coach Dan Georgalis takes the timeout for the Jacks, and we're back here to continue set number 2. Ariana Bilby is currently serving for Boise State. Bilby's service is to Weber. Martin Van Kirk sending a spike that's out the left sideline. Point for Boise State. It's 16-13. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3. Bilby still serving. This one to Weber. Here's Martin set up for Shetnin. Shetnin sends a spike. There's Cotton on the dig. Here, return is from Dreves, and point for the Jackrabbits there as her spike goes out of bounds. It's going to be an attacking error there on Dreves. 17-13. The Jackrabbits ahead by 4. Riley Martin back to serve it. This one picked up by Bilby. Here's Dreves. She gets it through the block of Ventling Brown and Shetnin. She threads the needle there. Point for the Broncos. It's 17-14. The Jackrabbits up by 3. Set number 2. Serving is Bella McGurr. And here is Shetnin's return. Spiking. Set up for a spike from O'Connor, and O'Connor gets it out the left sideline. Say point for the Broncos as that one was tipped at the net. I think we might get a challenge here from Georgalis, and we do. Jackrabbit challenge, they say the original call was touched up at the net by Shetnin and Van Kirk. I think that ball heads to the left of them, and I think we're going to get a reversal here. Even Boise State thought that that point was headed towards the Jackrabbits, and they were a little surprised when the officials pointed in their direction. So I think we should get a reversal here as that ball clearly heads to the left of Shetnin's block. But we will see. It is close. We will see what the call is. Leading currently for the Jackrabbits on kills is still Sylvie Sconce. She's got 6 kills. Sconce has also been working as the dig leader right now for South Dakota State. She has 8 digs right now. Usually that title goes to Jocelyn Richardson, libero. She's currently got 7 digs, so Sylvie Sconce one ahead here for the Jacks. Leading in kills for Boise State, Ridley O'Connor has 5. She's tied with Sydney Dreves at 5. O'Connor has a much better hitting percentage, though. 5 kills on 8 total attempts, a hitting percentage of .625. Leading in blocks right now for SDSU is Sydney Shetnin. She's got 4 blocks up front, far ahead of the next Annalie Ventling Brown with 2 blocks. After the review, the call will be reversed, and the point will go to the Jackrabbits. Maggie Meister back to serve it for the Jacks. It's 18-14. The Jacks ahead by 4. Here is the return, Mitchell. And a spike across sent by O'Connor. And Riley Martin couldn't quite get ahead of that one. Point for the Broncos. It's 18-15. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3 in set number 2. Lily Eater back to serve it for Boise State. Eater's serve is the back right corner. That's Scott's. Here's Martin. Shetnin sends it over in an empty space. Sydney Shetnin on the kill. Point for the Jackrabbits. Jocelyn Richardson back to serve it for SDSU. Dreves sends back a spike, and Richardson couldn't quite get ahead of that one. Kill for the Broncos. It's 19-16. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3. Sydney Dreves back to serve for Boise State. Here picked up by Sconce. Martin back to Sconce. Tipping over. Eater gets the dig. Here's a tip over for Boise State. Ventling Brown there. Martin and to Burr. Burr gets blocked up front by Hastings. Boise State side. It's back over. That's blocked by Ventling Brown. Ventling Brown gets that kill as Hastings tries to block again. She couldn't quite get a handle on it. And it's going to be 20-16 as the Jackrabbits ahead by 4. Looks like the head coach for Boise State talking to the officials. And we're going to get a challenge here from Boise State. Let's see what we get here for challenge. I think they're going to say net violation on Burr. So when Burr spikes over, it hits the net before getting into the blockers, and they're going to say, did Boise State ever touch the volleyball after it hit the net? Because it ends up going back over to the Jackrabbit side. So it would be a 4th touch on the return if it's unblocked from Boise State, and it might not have been touched. We might get a reversal here. Let's see if we get a call. This one's a tough one. So Burr sends a spike into the net. It gets over. Boise State's up for the block. Did they touch it before that ball goes back? Because the ball ends up going back over to the Jackrabbit side, whether that be from the net bouncing back or the blockers touching it. I don't know. We saw it a couple times here on the replay. I don't know if that was touched from Boise State or not. We will see what the official rules on the replay. We're about to get the ruling. Call is confirmed. It was touched from Boise State's block, and the point remains with the Jackrabbits. It's 20-16. The Jacks are ahead by 4. Rachel Weber is going to be back to serve it for the Jacks after the ruling stands. Weber serve back to Mitchell. Here's Eater putting it over for Bilby, and Bilby gets it in. A kill there for the Broncos. 20-17, the Jacks ahead by 3. It's set number 2. Mitchell on the serve. Here to Weber. Martin tips over on 2, and a kill for Riley Martin. She sent it over on 2, and Boise State not ready for it. Caitlin Van Kirk enters the game for the Jacks. Sylvie Scott's back to serve it. Scott's here, the service tipped back over by Bilby, and that's an empty space. Van Kirk can't quite get under it. It's 21-18. The Jackrabbits ahead by 3. L. Cotton back to serve it for BSU. Here is Weber, Martin, and Burr on the left side. It stays on the Jackrabbit side. It's blocked. Here is Martin to Van Kirk, and Van Kirk gets blocked on the opposite side of the net. They try the left side with Burr. They try the right side with Van Kirk. Both sides get blocked. Point for Boise State. It's 21-19. The Jackrabbits ahead by 2. Georgialis uses his last time out of the set. We'll take it with him. Be right back here in 30 seconds on Collegian Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back after the Jackrabbit timeout here in the second set. The Jacks lead it 21-19 over Boise State. The Jacks also won the first set of this match. Currently, it is L. Cotton back around the line to serve it for Boise State. Cotton's serve picked up by Weber. Here is Martin on the setup for Van Kirk on the left side. Van Kirk gets blocked again. That's back-to-back blocks for Bridley O'Connor on that right side. Bronco point. It's 21-20 now. The Jackrabbits up by a narrow 1. Cotton on the service again. Here's Scott's. Martin setting up Van Kirk again. Van Kirk tips over. This one in the net. Boise State got to make a recovery. Here's the spike to the back row. Scott's. Martin there. Burr gets it over. And Boise State tries for that right side. That's blocked by Van Kirk, but Van Kirk's block goes out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. It's 21-all. Set number 2 as Boise State crawls back into this one. Cotton serve there to Scott's. Martin back sets Burr. The Burr gets blocked. Weber's there for the recovery. Van Kirk tips over. Bilby's there. Here comes Spike O'Connor. Diving is Scott's. Martin over on hit number 2. Boise State's ready for it. They return. Martin sets up Van Kirk on that far side. She sends a spike in. It's dug up in the back row. Here comes the spike. Weber's there for the dig. Richardson, Van Kirk again. Van Kirk gets blocked again. That's O'Connor again. O'Connor and Layla Smith on the block up front. And it gives the Broncos their first lead of the second set. It's 22-21. The Jackrabbits down by 1. And here's a service ace from L. Cotton as Scott's can't make a clean return. Point for the Broncos. It's 23-21. The Jackrabbits throwing away this second set. The Jackrabbits are out of timeouts. Boise State has 1 remaining. L. Cotton. Service still for Boise State. Scott's. Martin setting up Van Kirk. Van Kirk tips over. Cotton's there. Here's Mitchell set up for Bilby. Van Kirk on the dig. Here is Scott's spiking over. Boise State ready for it. Here comes another Bilby spike. Weber's there, and Scott's runs to make the save, but she can't bring it back in. Point for the Broncos. It's now set point and set number 2 for the Broncos. as the Jackrabbits have been stifled late in this second set, as Boise State now on a 7-0 scoring run. Cotton still serving in the 7-0 scoring run. Here's Burr, Martin, and Burr again. Burr gets blocked, and that's going to end the set for Boise State. Broncos take the second set as the Jackrabbits fall apart to end out that one. The Broncos go on an 8-0 scoring run to close out set number 2 in their favor. We head into set number 3. We'll be playing at least 4 sets here tonight in First Bank and Trust. We've got a 5-minute break. We'll be right back for set number 3. This one might heat up. Stick around.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on...
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
So what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older-adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that catch-up.
Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back in here to First Bank and Trust Arena for set number 3, Jackrabbit Volleyball. The Jacks just dropped set number 2 after an 8-0 scoring run by Boise State. The second set marked up as a loss for the Jackrabbits. The final score of that set, 25-21. The Jacks down by 4. The Jacks led that entire set until Boise State goes on an 8-0 scoring run at the end to cap out that set. Some fundamental problems there for the Jacks at the end. And we'll see if the Jacks can get back in the mood for set number 3. We're getting ready here for set number 3. We're just waiting for Boise State. And the officials checking player numbers. Jackrabbits will start off with the service here in set number 3. Back to serve will be number 6, Maggie Meister. Meister's serve is underway, and we have the third set here. Here's the spike. It's over to the Jackrabbit side. Martin has to set it backwards to Richardson, and it's a free ball here to start off. Richardson, a good dig, and it's back over to the Boise State side. Another free ball, and they can't make a clean tip over. Point for the Jackrabbits after the attacking error by the Broncos. Meister back to serve once again. Swan picked up by Bilby, a block up front, but it goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Jackrabbits. Point for the Broncos. We're tied up at 1 here in set number 3. So yesterday the Jackrabbits pull off the sweep against Boise State. Today, not going to get the same fate. And here's a service ace for the Broncos, sent by L. Cotton. And the Broncos take the lead here in the third set. It's 2-1. Cotton serving again. Here's Scots, Martin, and Ventling Brown gets it through. Boise State's all over it. There's a block up front. Ventling Brown shuts it down on the right side. We're tied up at 2 apiece. Service for the Jackrabbits, number 17, Jocelyn Richardson. Richardson spiking over. And Richardson on the dig, recovered by Meister. Scots spikes over. Excellent recovery there by the Jackrabbits. Here's the spike, and it's out of bounds on the back line. Point for SDSU. The Jackrabbits regain their lead here in set number 3. It's 3-2. Jocelyn Richardson will be back to serve it when she went to block it on that last point. It looked like it went over her hands and out of bounds. We'll see if the call stands. We will get a review here, and we will step away, be right back for the ruling from the officials.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings Park West. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, Park West is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. Park West is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Ruling from the officials after the challenge from Boise State, the call stands. Point for the Jackrabbits, it remains 3-2. That's the second failed challenge of the day for Boise State. Here's a block up front, Madison Burr and Bentley Brown, but they send it too far to the right, out of bounds. Point for the Broncos, we're tied up at 3. Back to serve it for Boise State, Ariana Bilby. Here's to Meister, Martin, Burr. Burr tips over. Here's Boise State's return, is on the near side. Spike into Wisconsin. Burr, there's a block up front. Point for the Jackrabbits. Sconce has cooled down as the day has continued. She still remains at 6 kills. Weber, service. Picked up by the back row, Boise State. Here's a spike. Meister, excellent dig. It ends up right over to the Boise State side off her touch. Here is a block by Sconce. Stays over on the Broncos side. Now over to Meister. Here's Martin. Martin gets blocked. That goes out of bounds. Point for the Jackrabbits after Martin's spike into the blockers goes out of bounds. Jacks by 2. Number 2, Rachel Weber back to serve. Weber picked up by Mitchell. Here is a spike. That's Madison Burr blocking up front. It remains on the Broncos side. Burr blocks again. It stays over on the Boise State side once more. Here's Meister on a dig. Martin sets up Sconce. Sconce sends a spike, and that one gets blocked up front by Boise State. They get the point. Layla Smith responsible for that block. Bella McGurr is back to serve. Here's Meister. Martin and Burr tipping over. That's dug up there by Boise State. Here's Meister, Martin again, and Sconce over. And Sylvie Sconce there with a much-needed kill for the Jackrabbits. It's 6-4. The Jacks up by 2. Sylvie Sconce back behind the line to serve it now for the Jacks. It's picked up back right corner, and here comes the return on the near side. Here's Burr. Back over to Klein. Klein sends a spike that's dug up by Mitchell in the back row. Here comes a spike that's way out of bounds. Was it touched at the net by the Jackrabbits? They say yes. Point Broncos. And it's 6-5. Jackrabbits lead by 1. Lily Eater back to serve for Boise State. There is Weber. Martin over to Klein. Klein meets the net, and it's down on the Jackrabbits side. Point for the Broncos. We're tied up at 6 here in set number 3. The Jackrabbits have slowed down here in the last 2 sets. Eater still serving for Boise State. Here picked up by Sconce. Martin setting over for Klein. Klein getting a kill there as she meets the block and makes it through to the Boise State side. Nice kill there for Hannah Klein. It's 7-6. The Jacks by 1. It's set number 3. Madison Burr back to serve. Burr's serve picked up by the middle for Boise State. Boise State return goes outside the back line. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 8-6. Jacks by 2. Madison Burr still serving. Burr's serve picked up by McGurr, and here is Jagger, who gets blocked, and it ends up in the hands of Klein, who makes it over. Here's the return by Boise State. It's back over, and Shetnin spikes. It's ruled out of bounds. That was close to the line. Shetnin says in. It looks like we're going to get the challenge by Georgialis on that line. Flag rules it out. Shetnin says that's definitely in. The ball was close to that back line. Let's see on the replay as we get a challenge from Georgialis. That is definitely in. That's definitely on the line there, I'd say. From the angle on the replay we're getting right now, it looks in. And as we get the challenge, we will see. We're about to get the ruling here. We get the challenge. Oh, official headed to the bench now. Right now, as it stands, it's 8-7 after the Boise State point. That ball ruled out of bounds by the flag. Crowd reacted negatively to that call. Georgialis rightfully challenges. Shetnin knows her ball was in. That ball ended up on the back side, the back line, right next to the flag on the far corner. Flag ruled it out. And we will see. About to get the ruling now. And after review, the call will be reversed and a point for the Jackrabbits. That ball was in. Service back over to Madison Burr. Here picked up by Bree Mitchell. Tipped over by Jagger, and Burr can't quite get under it. Point for the Broncos. 9-7, the Jackrabbits head by 2. Service will be with Sydney Dreves. Dreves serve over to Weber. Here's Martin. Martin sets up Klein on the left side. Klein gets into the back row. It's dug up there by Boise State. Here's a quick quick spike that's picked up by Scots. Scots over to Klein. Klein tips over. Here's Boise State's tip over. Weber gets under that one. An excellent dig there by Weber. Back over to Klein. Klein tips into the net. An attacking error there by Klein. Point for the Broncos. It's 9-8. The Jackrabbits up by 1. Set number 3. Back on the service for Boise State, it is still Sydney Dreves. Here is Gantz, Martin, and Shetnin. Shetnin sends a spike point there for the Jackrabbits off the Shetnin kill. Here's Riley Martin back to serve it for the yellow and blue. Martin spike from behind the line is over, and Boise State on the return back over to Martin. Here is Sconce on a kill. Sylvie Sconce sends a heater into the back row, finds open space. Excellent kill there by Sylvie Sconce. It's 11-8. The Jackrabbits up by 3, set number 3. Here's Riley Martin once again. Martin picked up by Mitchell. Here comes a spike. That's blocked up front by Shetnin. Denied at the net. Sydney Shetnin blocks. It's 12-8. The Jackrabbits up by 4 after the block up front by Shetnin. Riley Martin serving still. This one hits the top tape of the net. Service error there by Martin. Point for the Broncos. It's 12-9. The Jackrabbits by 3. Bree Mitchell back to serve for Boise State. This one picked up by Klein. Here is Martin. That one got too close to the net. It goes over to the Boise State side, rolled on the top of the tape. It falls on the Broncos side. Back over to the Jackrabbits. Here's Shetnin on the spike, and kill for Sydney Shetnin. 13-9. The Jackrabbits up by 4. Maggie Meister into the game now for SDSU to serve it. Just waiting now for conversation between the Boise sideline and the official. We are ready to resume. Here is Maggie Meister. Mitchell bumps it, and this one's a free ball here for SDSU. Martin's there, Meister, and Sconce on the return. Sconce gets blocked up front. That's Layla Smith, and point for the Broncos. (13-10). The Jackrabbits up by 3. Serving for the Broncos is L. Cotton. Here is Richardson, Martin, and Annalie Ventlik-Brown on the right side. Here's Boise State's return. That's a spike that's out of bounds, untouched by the Jackrabbits. Point for the Jacks. It's 14-10. The Jacks up by 4, set number 3. Jocelyn Richardson back to serve it for SDSU. Richardson over to Mitchell. Here is the return. That's O'Connor. Martin, excellent dig. Richardson over to Sconce. Sconce on the left side, gets it through the block. It's in the back row for Boise State. They return with a spike that's blocked by Burr, but it ends up down on the Jackrabbits side. Point for the Broncos. It's 14-11. Jackrabbits by 3, set number 3. Ariana Bilby will be serving now. It's out of bounds, back line, service error there, gives the Jackrabbits the point. It's 15-11, the Jacks by 4, set number 3. Rachel Weaver back to serve it for SDSU. Here is Mitchell, and block up front, Madison Burr. Point for the Jackrabbits. Madison Burr, excellent block up front. It's Burr's 4th block of the day. Weber still serving. It's out of bounds, right sideline, service error there by Weber. Point for the Broncos at 16-12. The Jackrabbits by 4. In the third set, Bella McGurr is back to serve it for Boise State. Here's Madison Burr and Meister and Sconce on the left side. Sconce can't get it through the block, but she sets it right over after her spike. Here is the return. There's Weber on the dig. Martin over to Scott. Scott sends it, and there's a kill for Sylvie Scott as she meets the block and gets through to the back row. Sylvie Scott's back to serve it for SDSU. She just got the kill at 17-12. The Jacks by 5. Bree Mitchell, Cotton, and a spike over by Ridley O'Connor, and that one goes out of bounds. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 18-12. The Jackrabbits start to get back into form now. The Jacks up by 6 here in set number 3. Sylvie Scott's back to serve. Scott serve picked up in the back left corner. Boise State's spike is into the net and doesn't make it over to the Jackrabbit side. That's going to be 4 touches there from Boise State, and point for the Jackrabbits. 19-12. The Jackrabbits are up by 7. And here comes the timeout from Boise State, their first of 2 of the set. We'll take it with them. Be right back here in about 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back into the third set here in First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson with Collegiate Sports. So glad to have you alongside me for this one. The Jackrabbits lead 19-12 here over Boise State in set number 3. The Jackrabbits ahead by 7. Sylvie Scott's is serving. Scott's serve picked up by the back row of Boise State. Here comes the return. It's a spike. Here's Weber. Martin and Burr on the tip. Burr gets blocked. Martin's there for the recovery. It's over to the Boise State side. Free ball here for Boise State. Here comes a spike that's out of bounds. Right sideline. They rule it inbounds. Point for the Broncos. Point overturned quickly there by the judges. Point for the Jackrabbits. They pointed the wrong way. 20-12. The Jackrabbits ahead by 8. Scott's service. Here comes the return. That's out of bounds. Untouched by the Jackrabbits. Point Jacks. Attacking error again by Boise State. It's 21-12 now. The Jackrabbits ahead by 9. Scott's serving still. The Jackrabbits are on a 5-0 scoring run. This one is going to be returned. Free ball here for SDSU. Here's Burr, gets blocked. Weber's on the recovery. Martin sends it over for Klein. Klein tips over. McGurr gives over to O'Connor. O'Connor spikes it, and Weber's out of position for that one. Point for the Broncos. It's 21-13 as the Jackrabbits are ahead by 8 now. Lily Etter back to serve for the Broncos. Here to Scott's, Martin and Klein. Klein gets it down, a kill for Hannah Klein. She gets it through the block on the left side. Aaliyah Schlimgen into the game to serve it for the Jacks. 22-13, the Jackrabbits ahead in set number 3. Schlimgen to the back left corner. Return is blocked. Shetman. Weber dives out of bounds here. The post to try to keep that one in play. She can't. Point for the Broncos. (22-14) the score. The Jackrabbits ahead by 8. And back to serve is Sydney Dreves for Boise State. Here is Weber, Martin, and Klein. Klein spikes over. Gets to the back row of Boise State. Here comes a return. Blocked by Klein. And a block by Hannah Klein gives the Jackrabbits the point there. 23-14, the Jackrabbits ahead by 9. Looking to close out the third set, it's Riley Martin back to serve. Martin to serve, picked up by Mitchell. Here is a spike on the right side. Martin's there. Shetland tries to get over, it's blocked. Martin again, Klein tips over. Here is Mitchell over to Bilby. Bilby gets blocked up front by Shetland, but Shetland's block heads out of bounds on the right sideline. Point for the Broncos. 23-15 the score. Jacks by 8. Set number 3. Bree Mitchell back to serve for the Broncos. Here is Scots. Martin. And Klein on the left side. Klein gets it through the block. It's kept alive in the back row of Boise State. Blocked by Shetland, and Shetland puts it away there. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 24-15. Set point. Set number 3 for the Jacks. Maggie Meister comes in to serve it for the Jackrabbits on set point. Meister's serve, back row middle here. Here's the return from Bilby. Richardson keeps it alive, and it's a great recovery by Annalie Ventling-Brown. Gets it over the Boise State side. Here is a dive from Martin to keep it alive, and Sconce sends a spike, and that's going to put away the third set. Sylvie Sconce gets it in the back row of Boise State. It's 25-15. Final score of set number 3. The Jackrabbits take the third set. We're heading into set number 4. The Jacks ahead 2-1. We're taking a 3-minute break here until set number 4. We'll be right back after this.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
So what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back in here to First Bank and Trust Arena. We're about to get underway with the fourth set. The Jackrabbits lead it 2-1. They just defeated the Broncos in the third set, 25-15. Sylvie Sconce has 10 kills tonight, and after getting that last kill to end out set number 3, that means Sylvie Sconce now has 1,000 career kills as a Jackrabbit. Great achievement there by Sylvie Scott's. 1,000 career kills for the Summit League Player of the Year. Junior from Hartford, Wisconsin, Sylvie Scott. The Jackrabbits could not get the sweep tonight as they did yesterday, but they look to end it here in 4 against Boise State. The Jackrabbits take the floor once again, set number 4. Boise State will start with the service in this set. Looks like Bree Mitchell awaits to check in for Boise State. And looking to serve will be number 22, El Cotton. Cotton has 2 service aces so far in this match. Cotton's serve is over to Meister. Here's Scott's with a heater, and Scott's gets another kill, making 1,001 career kills. Sylvie Scott's gets us on the board to start off set number 4. Jocelyn Richardson on the service for SDSU. Here's her turn. O'Connor gets blocked up front. Ventling Brown and Madison Burr, but that one meets the net. And a point for the Broncos there. Sydney Dreves will be back to serve as we're tied up at 1 now. For Boise State, here is Scotts. Martin and Burr gets stopped up front. That's Eliza Sharp on the block there for the Broncos. The Broncos take the lead of 1. It's 2-1. Set number 4. Dreves serving once again. Dreves gets it over to Scott's. Here's Martin back setting for Ventling Brown, and there's a heater from the left side. Annalie Ventling Brown with the kill. 2-all here in set number 4. Number 2, Rachel Weaver back to serve. Weaver's service picked up by Mitchell. Here is Cotton, and a tip over is to Burr. Here is Meister and Scott sending a spike that's out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. Broncos take the lead here in set number 4. It's 3-2. Bree Mitchell, libero for the Broncos, going to be serving it now. Mitchell's serve over to Meister. Here's Martin back set for Burr. Burr tips over. Boise State ready for it. They send a spike. It's back to Jocelyn Richardson. Here's Martin and Burr sending a heater that's dug up in the back row of Boise State. Here comes a spike that's out of bounds. Back line, point for the Jacks, ties us up at 3-all. Sylvie Scott's back to serve it for SDSU. Scott's to Mitchell. Cotton over to Bilby. Bilby gets it past Martin's block. And a kill there for the Broncos. It's 4-3. The Jackrabbits ahead, the Broncos ahead by 1. Lily Eder back to serve for the Broncos. Service is to Weber. Here is Scotts and Richardson have a communication error there, and it ends up Richardson putting it too close to the net. Scotts and Richardson going for that ball. Point for the Broncos. 5-3. Jacks down by 2. Eder still serving for Boise State. This one over to Weber. Here's Martin, and Martin tries to set it, and it ends up getting too close to that. Layla Smith gets it and puts it down in front of Martin. 6-3. The Jackrabbits down by 3, set number 4, and Eder still serving. Weber loses it off the serve, and it's an ace there for Eder. Bronco point, it's 7-3. The Jackrabbits down by 4. Here comes a timeout from head coach Dan Georgalis, and the Jackrabbits will take it with them. Be right back here in 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
Welcome back in here to First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson with Collegiate Sports. Currently, the Jackrabbits down in set number 4 by 4 points. 7-3 the score, Boise State ahead. Dan Georgalis uses his first time out of the set. We're about to get back underway here. Jackrabbits need to get back into it as Boise State on a 4-0 scoring run here in the 4th set. Earlier to win the 2nd set, Boise State won on a 8-0 scoring run to close out that 2nd set. Eder on the service. Here's Sconce, Martin, and Klein. Klein gets blocked. Klein tips right back over. It's on the Boise State side. Here is an out-of-bounds shot by Bilby. Point for the Jackrabbits. Madison Burr back behind the line to serve it. It's 7-4. The Jacks down by 3. Burr's serve picked up by Mitchell. Here is a 4th touch on the Boise State side. Point for the Jackrabbits. They rule a net violation there. The net 7-5. The Jackrabbits down by 2. Burr back serving again. Picked up by Dreves. Here's the return. Bilby gets blocked up front by Klein, but it ends up on the Jackrabbits side nonetheless. Point for the Broncos. It's 8-5. The Jacks down by 3 now as Ariana Bilby goes back to serve it for Boise State. Bilby back to Weber. Here's Martin meeting Boise State at the net, getting it over to the Broncos side. Richardson on the dig. Martin running to pop it up for Klein. Klein spikes over. Picked up by Bilby. Eder gets it over to Smith. Smith sends a spike. That's touched by Richardson before going out of bounds. Point for Broncos. It's 9-5. The Jacks down by 4 now, set number 4. Bilby back serving again. Bilby's serve picked up by Weber. Here's Martin. Klein sending a spike. Klein gets the kill as it goes off the Broncos block and out of bounds. It's 9-6. The Jackrabbits down by 3. Back behind the line to serve for the Jacks. It's Riley Martin. Martin picked up by Bilby. Eder to Smith. Smith sends a spike out of bounds. The back line point for the Jackrabbits again makes it 9-7. The Jackrabbits down by 2. Martin serving again. This is going to be a service ace for Riley Martin as it knuckles off the forearms of Ariana Bilby and out of bounds. Ace there for Martin makes it 9-8. The Jackrabbits up. Excuse me, the Jackrabbits down by 1. Martin's serve picked up by Mitchell. Here is the return. It gets through to Sconce in the back row. Martin to Klein. Klein gets it to Bilby. Boise State sets up the spike on the left side. Sconce there, and Richardson makes a recovery with Klein, but that one outside the left sideline as the Jackrabbits were scrambling. Point for the Broncos. 10-8, the Jackrabbits down by 2. Bella McGurr back behind the line to serve for Boise State. Services to Sconce. Here's Martin. And Bentley Brown gets it through for the kill. Annalie Bentley Brown on that one. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 10-9. The Jacks down by 1 in set 4. Maggie Meister into the match now to serve it for the Jacks. Meister got it back to the back row. Here is a spike, and that one off the block of the Jackrabbits goes out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. It's 11-9. The Jacks are down by 2. El Cotton back to serve for the Broncos. Cotton is from Elk River, Minnesota. Here is Meister, Martin, and Sconce tipping over. A kill for Sylvie Sconce as she gets it over the blockers. Points for the Jackrabbits. It's 11-10 now. The Jackrabbits down by 1. Here is a service from Jocelyn Richardson and the Jacks. That goes out of bounds the back line. Service error there by Richardson. Point for the Broncos. Makes it 12-10. The Jackrabbits are down by 2. Sydney Dreves back behind the line for Boise State. That one goes out of bounds. Service error there by the Broncos. It's point Jackrabbits 12-11. The Jacks down by 1 in set number 4. Jackrabbits have trailed for the majority of this set. Rachel Weber in the game now to serve it. Picked up by Mitchell. Here's El Cotton back setting. Here's a spike. Richardson dives for the dig. Can't make a clean one. Point for Boise State. 13-11 the score. The Jacks down by 2. Libero Bree Mitchell in the game to serve it for Boise State. Mitchell's serve. Here to Weber, Martin, and Sconce sending a spike. That is inbounds on the right sideline. Point for the Jackrabbits off the kill from Sconce. 13-12, the Jacks are down by 1. Riley Martin got the assist on that last one. That's the 35th assist of the game for Martin. Sconce back to serve. Sconce has 13 kills tonight. Mitchell, Cotton, and here's the spike over by Layla Smith. Point for the Broncos. It's going to be 14-12. The Jackrabbits are down by 2. Lily Etter back to serve for the Broncos. Etter's serve meets Sconce. Here is Martin, and a spike from Klein finds open space. Kill for Hannah Klein. Point for the Jacks. It's 14-13. Jackrabbits are down by 1. Aaliyah Schlimgen enters the game to serve it for the Jacks. Schlimgen gets it over. Mitchell diving there. Here is a block up front, Hannah Klein, but it goes out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. 15-13. The Jackrabbits are down by 2 now.
Service for the Broncos with number 6,
Ariana Bilby serving now for the Broncos. Here to Weber. Weber puts it too close to the net. It's back over to the Jackrabbit side. Here's Klein tipping over. Klein gets the point. (15-14), the Jackrabbits down by 1. Back to serve, it is Riley Martin. Martin serve to Mitchell. Here a bump up, and Dreves gets blocked by Shetland. It stays on the Boise State side. Here is a bump over by Jagger. Here is a spike from Klein. That was a quick one. Mitchell able to dig it up. Jagger tries again. Here to Martin. Richardson and Ventling Brown sending a spike. That one's going to be hard to recover from. And Ventling Brown with the kill ties us up at 15-all. Set number 4, it's 15-all, and Riley Martin is back serving still. Martin sends the serve. Picked up by the front row, and it's over. Richardson gets it to Martin, and it's a free ball here for Boise State. Excellent recovery there by Martin. Here comes a ball headed towards the bench, and point for the Broncos as Richardson chased that one towards the sideline. 16-15, the Jackrabbits not able to take the lead there. Set number 4, and Bella McGurr is back serving. Picked up by Sylvie Sconce. Here's Martin, and Ventling Brown can't get through the block. Stays on the Jackrabbit side. Here to Hannah Klein. Klein gets it through. Boise State's there, sets it over on hit number 2. Richardson's there. Hannah Klein spiking. Here picked up by Dreves for the spike, and this gets through Ventling Brown, and point for the Broncos. Timeout for the Jacks. It's 17-15. The Jackrabbits down by 2 in set number 4. Dan Georgalis uses his last timeout of the set. We'll take it with them. Be right back here in 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings PowerQuest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back in here to First Bank in Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson. It is the 4th set, and Boise State leads the Jackrabbits 17-15. Jacks have 2 sets over Boise State. Boise State with 1 set. Bella McGurr is still serving for the Broncos. This one over, picked up by Sconce. Here is Martin. Martin back setting for Ventling Brown. Ventling Brown gets blocked, and the Jacks can't recover. Point for the Broncos there. That block was from Sydney Dreves. Whistle. And we're going to need a wipe. You're in a wet spot on the Jackrabbit side. It's 18-15. The Jackrabbits down by 3 in set number 4. Bella McGurr still serves. Broncos on a 3-0 scoring run now. Sconce, Martin, and Shetland gets it through the block. Here is the return on the left side. It's to Sconce, and that's down in front of Sconce. Bronco point, 19-15. The Jackrabbits down by 4 as the Broncos on a 4-0 scoring run now. Nick Gurr back to Sconce. Here's Martin. Martin with the back set for Ventling Brown. Ventling Brown in the back row. Here is a spike over. That's Richardson. This one tipped back. It's Ventling Brown. Here's Klein tipping over, and it's a Klein block on the right side for the point. Boise State gets denied on the right side by Hannah Klein. 19-16, the Jackrabbits are down by 3. Maggie Meister enters the game for Hannah Klein to serve. Meister to Dreves. Here is a spike from Eliza Sharp that goes out of bounds. Point for the Jacks. 19-17, the Jackrabbits are down by a narrow 2 in set number 4. Maggie Meister still serving still. Here to Mitchell. And Sharp tries again, and this time gets it inside that line. Point for the Broncos. 20-17, the Jackrabbits down by 3, nearing the end of the 4th set. Elle Cotton in to serve it for the Broncos. Here to Richardson. Martin sets up Shetland. Shetland spikes over. There's Cotton on the bump. Shetland stops it at the net. Here is the return. It's a free ball here for the Jacks. Richardson, Martin, and Shetland spiking again. Here to the back row. Boise State sends a spike, and this one gets through the front block. Dreves on the kill. Point for the Broncos. 21-17 the score. Jacks down by 4, set number 4. Here is Cotton's serve once again. This one to Meister, and Scott sends a spike on the far side, gets it through the block with pure force. 21-18 after the kill by Scots. Broncos are up by 3. Richardson on the serve. This one down to Mitchell. Cotton setting up O'Connor, and O'Connor gets it over. That's a somehow recovered by Meister, Burr, and finally Sconce to get it back. And this one into the block of Ventling Brown goes out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. Service for Sydney Dreves and the Broncos. The Jacks are down by 4 in set number 4. Dreves back to Meister. Martin sets up Sconce. Sconce tries for the tip. She gets blocked. And 3 Jackrabbits looking at the ball as it falls down on the Jacks side of the court. Point for the Broncos, 23-18. Jacks down by 5 in set 4. Dreves. Dreves serve, picked up by Meister. Martin and Burr puts it over. Free ball right away for Boise State. Here comes O'Connor. On that side, it's Martin. Burr and Sconce. Sconce gets a kill for the Jackrabbits. A much-needed one there, sent over by Sconce. Sylvie Sconce has 15 kills tonight for the Jackrabbits so far. She leads the team. Rachel Weaver is back serving. It's 23-19. Jacks down by 4. Here is the return. It's Bilby, and Bilby gets that kill. Point for the Broncos means it's set point, set number 4 for the Broncos, looking to force the 5th set. Jacks down by 5 here. Bree Mitchell serving. This one, Richardson. Martin setting up Sconce. Sconce gets it through. And Boise State return is a tip, and Weber's there. Richardson keeps it alive, and Meister gets it over. Free ball here for Boise State. Here comes a spike on the left side. There's Richardson, couldn't quite make the dig. Point Broncos, they get the fourth set. 25-19, the Jackrabbits drop the fourth set. And we're headed into a set number 5. Set number 5 will be played to 15 points. After one team reaches halfway, that being 8, we will switch sides of the court and teams will play from the other side until we reach 15. 3-minute break until set number 5. Stick around, this one's coming down to the wire. We'll have it on Collegiate Sports. We'll be right back.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back to First Bank and Trust Arena. We're headed into the 5th set now. We got about a minute here until the 5th set starts. Leading the team for Boise State in kills, it's Bridley O'Connor. She's got 12. Ariana Bilby has 10 kills. Sydney Dreves has 10 kills as well for Boise State. Layla Smith with 8. Eliza Sharp with 6. Kendall Hastings with 3. Kaylin Yager with 2. On the South Dakota State side of the ball, Sylvie Scotts has 15 kills, a hitting percentage of .237. 16 digs and a block also for Scotts. Hannah Klein with 10 kills, hitting percentage of .152, a dig and 3 blocks for Klein. We're headed into the 5th set. We will decide who wins this match. Yesterday, the Jackrabbits were able to sweep Boise State 3-0. Now Boise State putting up a little bit more of a fight. We're tied up 2 sets to 2 sets, and we're headed in to set number 5. Set number 5 will be played to 15 points. After a team scores 8 points, we will switch sides of the court and continue the 5th set. Currently, the Jackrabbits on the far side of the net, Boise State on the near side as I see it. Looks like we will start the serve with the Jackrabbits, I believe. Riley Martin will be the one behind the line for SDSU. Martin's serve to start off set number 5 is to Mitchell. Cotton back set. Here's a spike. There's Sconce on the dig. Martin setting up Klein. Klein gets it through to the back row. Boise State pushes over on 2, and that one goes out of bounds. Broncos on the board first in set number 5. It's 1-0. El Cotton back to serve for BSU. Cotton over to Sconce, Martin, and Shetland spiking over, setting up the outside tip, is blocked up front by Klein, and they're going to say it was touched at the net. The nut was touched by Hannah Klein. Point for Boise State. And Boise State takes the 2-0 lead here in set number 5. It goes outside the back line, out of bounds service error there. Jackrabbits on the board. It's 2-1. Maggie Meister into the game to serve it now. Meister's serve picked up here by McGurr, and here's a spike from O'Connor. Attempted block there from Bentling Brown, ends up on the Jackrabbit side. Point for the Broncos. It's 3-1. Jackrabbits down by 2. Sydney Dreves back to serve it for Boise State. Dreves sends it in. Martin gets blocked up front. They say net violation. That's uncalled. Still no point awarded. Yeah, we're going to get a challenge here from Dan Georgalis. As it stands, Boise State gets the point, 4-1. Challenge coming in from the Jackrabbits. They are going to say that tipped the net on the spike, and it certainly does. The spike from Eliza Sharp. There was no net violation call, and clearly that one is egregious. She takes down the top of the net with the spike hand. Should get a quick reversal, and we will. Call is going to be reversed. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 3-2 now. The Jackrabbits are down by 1 after the successful challenge by head coach Dan Georgalis. Jocelyn Richardson back to serve it for the Jacks. Here is the serve picked up by Mitchell. Here is Cotton over to Bilby. Bilby to Martin. And Burr puts it too close to that right post. Sconce dives for it, but it does bounce off the post. Point for the Broncos. It's 4-2. The Jackrabbits down by 2. Set number 5. Bree Mitchell. Here on the service. That's to Sconce. Burr on the spike. There's a kill for Madison Burr. 4-3. The Jacks down by 1. Madison Burr keeping the Jacks in it. Rachel Weber enters to serve. Weber's service. Picked up in the back row, Boise State. Here comes the spike. That's empty space in the back. Layla Smith with the kill. Point for the Broncos. 5-3. Jackrabbits down by 2. Set number 5. Lily Etter back serving for Boise State. Gets it to Rachel Weber. Riley Martin, here is Sconce. Sconce gets blocked. And point Broncos. 6-3. Jackrabbits down by 3. Head coach Dan Georgalis uses his first of 2 timeouts. We'll be back in 30 seconds on Collegiate Sports.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings Park West. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, PowerQuest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. PowerQuest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
Welcome back in here, First Bank and Trust Arena. I'm Ben Anderson with Collegiate Sports. It's the fifth set here as Boise State leads the Jackrabbits by 3. It's 6-3. Lily Eder back to serve for Boise State. The Jackrabbits got to get something done here in the fifth set. They just took a timeout. We're back. Richardson, Martin, and Burr tipping over. Here's Bilby, Eder, and Jagger over. Burr's there. Martin and Scott's into the block, and it's out of bounds off the block. Point for the Jackrabbits. It's 6-4. Jacks are up. Excuse me, Jacks are down by 2, and Scott's is back behind the line to serve. Scott's here to Mitchell. Eder, and block up front by Hannah Klein. And point for the Jackrabbits. Excellent block there by Klein, bringing the Jackrabbits back within 1. It's 6-5, and Scott's is serving still. We have a stoppage here from the official, as looks like Lily Eder is bleeding on her right knee. Got to get that taped up. We are going to have a stoppage as athletic training staff bandage up the right knee of Lily Eder for Boise State. Boise State leads the Jackrabbits 6-5 in set number 5. After one of these teams reaches 8 points, we will switch sides of the court. Looks like Eder is good to go. Scott's is serving. Scott's serve picked up by Mitchell. Here over is Layla Smith. She gets the kill there. Point for the Broncos at 7-5. Jackrabbits down by 2. Here is Ariana Bilby on the serve. This to Weber, Martin, and Klein. Klein sends it, and it goes out of bounds on the back line, and we are going to get a challenge here from Dan Georgalis. This one heads out of bounds on the back line. They are going to rule it out, and there's going to be a challenge as Dan Georgalis thinks that ball was in, sent by Hannah Klein. They're going to take a look at this one. They're looking at the touch up at the net, actually, is what the challenge is for. This one is going to be Kaylin Jagger up, going for the block for Boise State. Does she touch it? It's very close. They're looking for is any change in the spin of the volleyball. After clearing the hands, it might alter a little bit, so we might get a reversal here. I'm not sure. We'll see if we get a change. They're still going to be looking at this one. If the call stands, we'll be switching sides. Boise State at 8, Jackrabbits at 5. If the call is reversed, we will stay. The Broncos will be at 7. The Jackrabbits would be at 6. So an important call here. It's one of Dan Georgialis' challenges. Had one successful one earlier in the set. And the official looks like he is ready to make a call. And call will be confirmed. Broncos point. It's 8-5, and the Jackrabbits will be down by 3. As we switch sides of the court, the Jackrabbits headed to the near side, Broncos on the far side. Boise State with the service, it's Ariana Bilby. Bilby's serve picked up by Weber. Here's Martin setting up Klein. Klein gets it through to the back row. Return by Boise State. It's a spike. It's Scott's. Martin and Klein again. Klein gets it over the blockers into the back row. They return on the Klein side, and it's going to be a point for Boise State. Net violation by the Jackrabbits. It's 9-5. The Jacks down by 4. It's set number 5. Ariana Bilby back serving. This picked up by Weber. Here is Martin. Martin sets over on 2. There's a kill for Riley Martin, keeping the Jackrabbits alive. It's 9-6. It's 1st to 15 here. Martin with the kill. Her second of the night. Broncos lead the Jacks by 3. Aaliyah Schlimgen in to serve for the yellow and blue. This one to the back row. It's a spike, and that one's too quick for Schlimgen or Zagans. Broncos get the point there. It's 10-6. The Jacks down by 4, set number 5. Bella McGurr is back to serve. Jacks need to get something going here. Service is to Weber. Martin, Shetnan. Shetnan gets it over to the back row. Boise State all over it. They send back a spike. Blocked up front by Klein and Shetnan, but it goes out of bounds on their touch. Point for the Broncos. It's 11-6. The Jackrabbits losing touch here, and there's going to be a timeout called by Dan Georgialis. It's their last timeout of the set. Broncos lead it 11-6. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Support comes from the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings, inspiring a passion for the diverse history, culture, and science of agriculture in South Dakota. To learn more about exhibits and events, you can visit agmuseum.com.
Welcome back into First Bank & Trust. This is the 5th set of this match here versus Boise State. Dan Georgialis just used the Jackrabbits' last time out of the set as the Jacks are down by 5. It's 11-6. Here, the Jackrabbits got to get a comeback going now. Broncos serve. It's Bella McGurr. McGurr's serve picked up by Scotts. Here's Martin. Martin sets up Klein. Klein can't get it through the block. Weber on an excellent recovery. Shetnan on the right. That gets through the block. Shetnan with the kill. The Jackrabbits get the point after the timeout. It's 11-7. The Jackrabbits down by 4. Riley Martin in the serve. Got to get something going here if you're the Jacks. Martin's serve to the back row. That's Mitchell. Here's Boise State's return on the far side. That gets through the block, touched by Ventling Brown before going out of bounds. Point for the Broncos. 12-7 the score. The Jackrabbits are down by 5. L. Cotton to serve it for the Broncos. Here to Scots. Martin. Shetnin. Shetnin gets the kill. A nice spike in the middle from Sydney Shetnin. A much needed point there for the Jacks. It's 12-8. The Jacks down by 4. Need a good service stretch here from Maggie Meister. Meister's serve is over to the back left corner. Boise State running and setting a spike. Here's Richardson, Martin, and Shetnin again! Back-to-back kills for Sydney Shetnin. 12-9, the Jackrabbits down by 3 as Sydney Shetnin leads the charge for the Jackrabbit comeback here in the 5th set. Forces the timeout from Boise State. We'll stay with it here in First Bank and Trust. Leading the stats for Boise State, Bridley O'Connor's got 14 kills, a hitting percentage of .323. 7 blocks up front for O'Connor. Watch out for her. Sydney Dreves has 11 kills and 1 block. Layla Smith has 11 kills and 11 blocks. Watch out for Layla Smith at the net. Ariana Bilby, 10 kills and 2 blocks for Boise State. On the other side of the ball, Sylvie Scotts leads the team in kills with 16. Hitting percentage of .225, 18 digs in the block for Sylvie Scotts. Hannah Klein has 10 kills. Hitting percentage of .105, 4 blocks for Klein. Sydney Shetnin heating up late here, has 10 kills, hitting percentage of .429. 2 digs, 9 blocks for Sydney Shetnin. She leads the team in blocks. Annalie Ventling Brown, 7 kills. Madison Burr, 6. Riley Morton, 3. Caitlin Van Kirk with 1 on the board for the Jackrabbits. We're back here, set number 5. The timeout taken from Boise State, and it's getting loud here now in First Bank and Trust. It's 12-9. The Jacks down by 3. Maggie Meister to serve it. Meister's serve, back row middle. And Boise State return on the left side, blocked by Shetnin. It stays on the Boise State side. They go for the opposite side of the net. Does that go out of bounds? Point for the Broncos. Bentley Brown might have touched that one. Now it stayed in bounds on that right sideline. Broncos 13, Jacks 9. Jacks down by 4. Broncos 2 points away from taking the match. Here's Sydney Dreves. Service to Richardson. Martin sets up Scotts. Scotts setting. Here is a spike blocked up front. Bentley Brown stays on the Boise State side. Here comes a spike that's out of bounds. Point for the Jackrabbits. 13-10. The Jackrabbits are down by 3. Boise State 2 points away from taking the match. Jocelyn Richardson back to serve. This one tips the top of the net, but gets it over. Here is the return. It's a free ball here for the Jacks. Burr gets it. Burr sends a spike across. Boise State ready for it. Here comes a spike. That's out of bounds. Another attacking error there from Boise State. Point for the Jackrabbits as it is 13-11, and everyone on Boise State says that that's their point. And here comes the challenge from the head coach for Boise State. As it stands, 13-11, the Jackrabbits down by 2. If this call is reversed, Boise State will be at match point. Call being no touch, Boise State with the challenge. Madison Burr being looked at here for the touch. We'll see if we get the close-up replay on the video board. Didn't get the close-up replay. We'll see what the call is. This would be a bad reversal for the Jackrabbits. If this call is reversed, it will be match point for Boise State. The Jackrabbits will be behind by 4. And it's a close call here. The close-up replay looks like the ball heads to the right of Burr, but from that angle, it's hard to tell if she touches it. And the call will be reversed. Burr touched it. It's going to be match point here for Boise State. It's 14-10. The Jackrabbits are down by 4. Bree Mitchell will be back serving for the Broncos. Mitchell tips the top of the net, gets to Sconce. Martin back to Sconce. Sconce sends a spike. There's a kill for Sylvie Sconce. Sconce kill. A heater from Sylvie Sconce on the left side. It's 14-11. The Jackrabbits are down by 3. It's still match point for the Broncos. Rachel Weber in to serve for SDSU. Got to get a clean one off here from Weber. It is clean inbounds to the back right corner. Boise State in the return. That's blocked up front. Madison Burr shuts it down at center net. Madison Burr gets the block. Timeout going to be taken here from Boise State. It's 14-12. The Jackrabbits down by 2. It's still match point here for Boise State. We'll take a 30-second break. Be right back after this. You don't want to miss it.
This portion of KSDJ 90.7's broadcast is brought to you by locally owned Brookings ParkWest. Located in the University Mall at 820 22nd Avenue South, you can find everything your ride needs. From essential auto parts to top-notch accessories and customer service, ParkWest is a one-stop shop for Brookings. Their phone number is 692-6298. ParkWest is a proud sponsor of SDSU Student Radio, KSDJ 90.7.
The Jackrabbits looking to fight off Boise State in the 5th set. It's 14-12. Boise State match point. The Jackrabbits on a run. Rachel Weber back to serve. Can't have an error here by the Jackrabbits. It's a must-win point. Weber sends it inbounds to the back right corner. Here's the return. It's a spike. It's tipped over. There's Weber. Martin setting up Sconce on the left. Sconce gets blocked. It's kept alive. And Sconce gets it again. Here's a tip over. Boise State scrambling. Here comes the return. It's a spike. Richardson touches it. Weber has to bring it back in. Meister keeps it alive. Free ball for Boise State as it's bumped over. Here comes the spike. Blocked up front. Madison Burr. And Boise State's there to keep it alive. Block again. Madison Burr shuts it down center net. It's 14-13. Jack's down by 1, not out of the woods yet. Rachel Weber has to serve it again. Burr gets the block, and the Jacks still must win this point. It's still match point Boise State. Bump here, and a spike is down in front of Weber, and that's going to be Boise State taking it home. Quick spike gets set up, no blockers in position, and Weber cannot get ahead of that one. It was too quick. Boise State takes it away in set number 5. Unfortunate turn of events here in First Bank and Trust, but a battle till the end between these two teams. Yesterday, the Jackrabbits able to sweep Boise State 3-0. Today, Boise State comes back with some fight in them and sends us to set number 5, and they take it away. Boise State wins it 3-2. Final score. Taking a look at what made it happen for Boise State, Bridley O'Connor had an amazing game versus the Jackrabbits, something she did not do yesterday. 16 kills for O'Connor, a hitting percentage of .286, a dig, and 7 blocks up front for O'Connor. What was a block party yesterday for the Jackrabbits has turned into a block party for Boise State. And Layla Smith with 11 blocks on 12 kills tonight for Boise State. Sydney Dreves, a block and 7 digs, 11 kills for Dreves. Ariana Bilby with 10 kills and 2 blocks up front. Eliza Sharp with 6 kills, 4 blocks. Kaylin Yager, 4 kills on 4 blocks. A block party of 15 blocks for Boise State compared to the 16 blocks for South Dakota State. Pretty evenly matched, but definitely different from what we saw yesterday. Way less blocks at a Boise State yesterday. Leading the team for South Dakota State, Sylvie Scotts with 17 kills. Welcome to the 1,000 career kills as a Jackrabbit club. Sylvie Scotts, a hitting percentage of .227, 18 digs, 2 blocks for Sylvie. Hannah Klein had 10 kills and 4 blocks. Sydney Shetton with 10 kills, 9 blocks. Annalie Ventling-Brown, 7 kills, 4 blocks. Madison Burr with 6 kills, 7 blocks. Riley Martin with 3 kills, 44 assists, 1 service ace, 8 digs and a block for Martin. Caitlin Van Kirk had a kill out there today and 2 digs. Rachel Weaver with 2 assists and 11 digs. Maggie Meister, 4 assists, 7 digs. And Jocelyn Richardson had 1 assist, 1 service ace, and 18 digs out there for the Jackrabbits today. Couldn't get it done. As we look back, set number 1 goes in favor of the Jackrabbits, 25-21. Set number 2 in favor of Boise State, 25-21. And set number 3, Jackrabbits take that one by a wide margin, 25-15. Boise State comes back in set number 4 to win that one 25-19, and Boise State takes it home in set number 5, 15-13. The Jackrabbits drop this one to Boise State 3-2. The record for the Jackrabbits is advanced now to 6-3. Boise State's record to 8-3. So this 2-game tournament between these two teams. The Jackrabbits win the first match. Boise State takes the second. Next time we meet the Jackrabbits will be versus Omaha here on September 25th. That is Thursday here at 7 p.m. in First Bank and Trust Arena, Omaha. We'll start off the Summit League conference schedule here for the Jacks. We'll have it for you on Collegian Sports. And next week also, football will be playing here at First Bank and Trust Arena on Saturday. We'll have that one for you on Collegian Sports as well as they take on Mercyhurst here at Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium. Thanks for joining me today for this volleyball match. Couldn't get it done today, but a good one nonetheless. I've been Ben Anderson for Collegian Sports. As always, go big, go blue, go Jacks.